This is the ugly equation that drives safety innovation in dangerous sports. For decades, NASCAR had the data. They knew drivers were dying from basilar skull fractures. They knew existing safety technology could prevent these deaths. They knew the risks. But change is expensive, change is slow, and change doesn't happen until the cost of inaction becomes unbearable. On February 18, 2001, with 17 million people watching live on television, NASCAR's most beloved driver paid the ultimate price for this equation. This is the story of how Dale Earnhardt's death instantly made every safety innovation that came after it inevitable, and why it took losing a legend to save the lives of everyone who came next. Before we understand how Dale Earnhardt died, we need to understand how he lived. Ralph Dale Earnhardt was born in Kannapolis, North Carolina in 1951, the son of a factory worker who raced cars on weekends. His father, Ralph, was one of the best short-track drivers in North Carolina, winning NASCAR's Sportsman Championship in 1956. But Ralph didn't want his son racing. When Dale dropped out of school at 16 to pursue his dream, his father was furious. Ralph was a hard teacher, pushing his son to the limit every time they shared the track. Then tragedy struck. In 1973, Ralph Earnhardt died suddenly of a heart attack at just 45 years old. Dale was only 22 and struggling to make it in racing. For years afterward, it felt like he had something to prove, not just to the racing world, but to his father's memory. That drive to prove himself became Dale's defining characteristic. He didn't just want to win races, he wanted to dominate them. Dale's NASCAR career began in 1975, but 1979 was his breakout year. Driving for Rod Osterland Racing, Earnhardt won his first Cup Series race at Bristol and was named Rookie of the Year. The very next year, he won his first Winston Cup championship, the only driver in NASCAR history to follow Rookie of the Year with a championship. It was a statement that sent shockwaves through the sport. This kid from North Carolina wasn't just talented, he was special. The nickname Intimidator came from the 1987 Winston All-Star race.
The winner, 1986 and 1987 Winston Cup, the Intimidator, Mr. Dale Earnhardt.
When Dale was forced into the infield grass but kept his foot on the gas, plowing through the grass and back onto the track without losing his lead. The move became known as the pass in the grass. But it wasn't just one moment that earned his reputation. Dale drove like every lap was his last, pushing his car and everyone around him to the absolute limit. If there was a gap, Dale would find it. If there wasn't a gap, Dale would make one. By 1988, Dale had found his perfect match, Richard Childress Racing and the iconic No. 3 Chevrolet. When GM Goodwrench became his sponsor, Dale made a decision that would define his image forever. He painted his car black, a menacing midnight black with red and silver accents. It was unlike anything NASCAR had ever seen. The black No. 3 became more than just a race car, it became a symbol. When you saw that car in your rearview mirror, you knew Dale Earnhardt was coming. Dale's driving style matched the intimidating look perfectly. He would ride inches off another driver's bumper for dozens of laps, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. He'd squeeze cars against the wall and use every trick in the book to maintain position. Other drivers complained that Dale crossed the line between aggressive and dangerous. NASCAR fined him repeatedly, but fans loved it. They'd never seen anyone drive with such passion and intensity. Dale won 3 championships in the black No. 3 in 1990, 1991, and 1993. But there was one race that had Dale Earnhardt's number, the Daytona 500. For 19 years, Dale tried to win NASCAR's biggest race. 19 times, something went wrong. He led the most laps and lost to late cautions. He dominated and cut a tire on the final lap. He got caught in crashes and suffered mechanical failures. The Daytona 500 became Dale's white whale. Fans called it the Dale Earnhardt curse. It got so bad that Dale himself wondered if it would ever happen. Then, on February 15, 1998, everything changed. In his 20th attempt, Dale Earnhardt finally won the Daytona 500. The victory was so emotional that something unprecedented happened. Every crew member from every team lined pit road to shake his hand as he drove to victory lane. After taking the checkered flag, Dale drove into the infield grass and spun donuts, leaving tire marks in the shape of a 3. He climbed out and shouted, "We won it! We won it! We won it!" That victory should have been the perfect ending to Dale's story. But fate had other plans. February 18, 2001. Dale Earnhardt was 49 years old and still competitive, but everyone knew his best days were behind him. For most of the 2001 Daytona 500, Dale ran mid-pack. He wasn't dominating like in his championship years, but he was doing what veterans do best, staying out of trouble and positioning for a strong finish. With less than 10 laps to go, something beautiful started happening. Dale's teammates, his son Dale Jr. and Michael Waltrip, were running first and second. Dale Sr. was in third, blocking for them, using his experience to keep other drivers from challenging for the victory. This wasn't about Dale winning anymore. This was about family, about legacy, about passing the torch to the next generation. On the final lap, Sterling Marlin made a move to pass Dale, trying to get to the leaders. Dale moved to block, determined to protect his teammates until the very end. Then, in an instant, everything went wrong. Turn 4 of the final lap, Dale Earnhardt made contact with Sterling Marlin, lost control of his car, and slid up the track. Ken Schrader, running beside him, had nowhere to go. The two cars collided, and Dale's number 3 shot toward the outside wall at approximately 160 miles per hour. The impact was devastating. Dale's car hit the concrete retaining wall nearly head-on, then slid down into the infield grass. While this was happening, Michael Waltrip crossed the finish line to win his first NASCAR race, and Dale Jr. finishing second. For fans watching at home, it looked like just another hard crash. Dale had walked away from worse accidents before. Remember, this was the same man who'd climbed out of a car after a 200-mile-per-hour crash at Talladega in 1996, waved to the crowd, and refused medical attention. But this time was different. Ken Schrader, who'd also been involved in the crash, climbed out of his car and ran to check on Dale. What he saw in that black number 3 car would haunt him forever. Later, Schrader would say, "When I got to the car, I knew he was dead." Emergency crews rushed Dale to Halifax Medical Center, but it was too late. At 5:16 p.m. Eastern Time, Dale Earnhardt was pronounced dead from a basilar skull fracture, the same type of injury that had killed 3 other NASCAR drivers in the previous 8 months. NASCAR President Mike Helton made the announcement that no one wanted to hear. This is undoubtedly one of the toughest announcements I've ever had to make. After the accident in Turn 4 at the end of the Daytona 500, we've lost Dale Earnhardt.
But after the accident in Turn 4 at the end of the Daytona 500, we've lost Dale Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt's death sent shockwaves through the racing world and beyond. Within hours, Sterling Marlin was receiving death threats from angry fans. Dale Jr. had to make a public statement asking people to stop blaming Marlin for what was clearly a racing accident. But the most important change came in NASCAR's approach to safety. For years, officials had been slow to implement new safety measures. Dale's death changed that forever. Within months, NASCAR mandated Hans devices, head and neck restraints that Dale had refused to wear. They also required safer barriers at all tracks, improved seatbelt systems, and developed the car of tomorrow with enhanced safety features. The tragic irony is that Dale Earnhardt, who'd resisted safety innovations during his career, became the catalyst for NASCAR's most comprehensive safety overhaul. Since his death, no driver has been killed during competition in NASCAR's 3 major series. More than 20 years later, Dale Earnhardt's impact on NASCAR is impossible to measure. The number 3 was retired for 13 years before returning with Dale's grandson, Austin Dillon, in 2014. Fans still hold up 3 fingers on the 3rd lap of every race at Daytona. His merchandise continues to outsell many active drivers. But Dale's real legacy isn't in numbers or statistics. It's in the way he changed what it meant to be a NASCAR driver. Before Dale, drivers were just athletes. After Dale, they became entertainment icons. He proved that you could be aggressive without being dirty, competitive without being cruel. He showed that NASCAR fans wanted personalities, not just fast cars. Most importantly, he demonstrated that authenticity resonates more than any manufactured image. Dale Earnhardt didn't just drive race cars. He embodied the spirit of competition itself. What do you think? Was Dale Earnhardt the greatest NASCAR driver of all time, or do you think someone else deserves that title? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Dale Earnhardt's life and legacy, smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss out on latest uploads. This is Track Reactions, and we'll see you at the track.